I'm really excited to have this conversation with my guy, Roland Coit. He goes by a lot of different names. He used to go by DJ Friction, Octane. He's worn a lot of different hats. This guy's a true Renaissance man, and he continues to reinvent himself. And I'm excited to have this conversation because the behind the scenes look into the minds of the individuals shifting culture, business, and entertainment. With that said, let's introduce tonight's special guest, Spit. When we had a conversation earlier, you talked about one of the things that you kind of live by is put yourself in the position that you want to be in. Number one, what does that mean? And how did that lead to Burn Rubber?
So my cousin, One Below, used to tell me, he's like this great philosopher. You know, some people might think he's crazy or whatever, but he's this great philosopher. And he would always say, like, man, people always come to me talk about they want to do what we're doing, but I don't see them at the clubs. I don't see them talking to the DJs. I don't see them talking to the bar owners and all these people. And it's like, if you want to perform at St. Andrews, you know, go to St. Andrews. Talk to the DJ. Talk to the promoter. Somebody, you know, once you start developing those relationships, usually something will come of it.
Yeah. I mean? So if we're translating that into just simple terms, putting yourself in the position that you want to be in, essentially just being in the room, trying to add value, building relationships, but just being in the room that you want to be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then on the flip from the Burn Rubber side of it, it was like, you know, I'm sure we'll get into the conversation of like super early on, but I had like a business proposal to do a store, and then at the time, I think she was my fiance, maybe girlfriend, something like that. Was walking in Royal Oak and saw Burn Rubber, and was like, yo, you know, this place that you've been talking about, this thing that is here. So the whole thing was like, I was kind of crushed because I wanted to be the first one to do it in the area. And then, but I started going. I just started going over there, buying shoes and things like that. And then even past that, Rick, he made himself like the photographer. He saw a need. They didn't have a website. He told him, yo, I don't even know I think that was the first website he ever did, I believe. You know what I'm saying? But he went there and was like, yo, I do websites. Yeah. And did a website. Yeah. So that's it. You know, like my thing was, I just started going. I started shopping there. I started, Rachel would always say, I used to wear Bapes all the time. Every time I walked to the door, she'd be like, I love your Bape studs. Every time, man, for years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, and it's like just a familiarity there. You know? Yeah. So
let's go back to the Bapes. The first step in starting a business is conducting market research. And it's 8 steps to starting a brick and mortar business. About 8 steps. And we'll get into some of those steps tonight. But the first step is conducting market research. When you told me your story about like how you started to procure Bapes and this, that, and the other and became this source, I felt like that's how you conducted your market research. You like validated that there was this community that wanted what you knew how to find and get. Is that the case?
Yeah, pretty much. And you know, the whole thing with Bapes, I saw I thought they were Air Force One. That's around the time people were like customizing Air Force Ones and putting like Gucci on them and Louis Vuitton and stuff. And I just thought somebody put a star on it, and I was like, yo, I need them. And then was like, I couldn't find them anywhere here. Yeah. And then I found out that it was a brand named Bapes, and it was out of Japan and Nego and all this stuff. And then it was just like everything I had saw even online they were fake. So I never bought any. And then me and my mom, like we used to take these trips out to drive to New York and like through the night, get there in the morning to go shopping. Yeah. And it's funny because although I would never wear fake shoes, we used to buy like fake jerseys and fake True Religion and stuff like that.
So fake clothes is okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we was coming back selling them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like selling jerseys and stuff like that.
Selling fake clothes. Okay. Gotcha.
Selling fake clothes, not a good thing. Not a good thing. At least in 2022. Right? And then we were coming, so we would literally drive through the night, shop during the day, and then drive back to Michigan.
Yeah.
Like not get a hotel or anything.
Okay.
And we made a wrong turn trying to go to the tunnel to come back, and we turned down Green Street. I didn't know the vape store was open.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget this. I had like $220 or $240 or something like that. And at least back then, the stores closed early out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like we turned down Green Street, and everything was dark. And then it was just one building that was just white, lit up like crazy with colors. And it felt like the doorway to heaven to me when I looked at it. And I was like, oh, that's them. That's
Yeah.
I jumped out the car.
Yeah.
But like she was still moving.
Oh shit.
I jumped out the car and ran in there. It was about to close. And I'm like, yo, how much do these shoes cost?
Yeah.
Because I've heard they cost $500. I didn't tell him how much I had in my pocket.
Yeah.
He like, man, I think they like $220 or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need that pair right there.
Yeah.
And then when I came back and I was wearing them, and they were the real ones, you know, it's just like this credibility, like you say. It's just like, oh, he's the guy that gets those.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was like I wasn't buying no more fake clothes. All the money I was collecting in between those trips was to buy as many of those as I could. And it was really I was buying 2 pair because I could sell 1 pair for $4 something, and then technically I got my pair free.
Right.
And that was the only reason I was doing it.
Yeah.
And then I wore 1 pair for about a year or so, beat them up. They was like squeaking, they patent leather. You know what I'm saying? They was squeaking when I walk and everything. And this dude bought them off my feet for like $200. And I'm like, well, I'm still making money off of these. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then that's what I was doing.
That's fire. So your mom is driving, you jump out of the car, you see the doorway to heaven.
Yeah.
You start selling sneakers.
Guy was walking in heaven.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah. Typically, step 2 is writing a business plan. But you skipped that step and went to step 3, which was like looking for funding. So you go to the bank without a business plan.
Yeah.
What happened?
They looked at me like I was crazy. You know, it was like they couldn't, but like they in their mind they probably were saying the audacity of this guy coming in here like that, like, you know. But to me, I'd only saw this stuff on TV. If you need money, you go to the bank and they gonna give you some money.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but that was not the case.
Yeah.
And it was just like that was another one of those moments. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
So you get the nod from the bank, and then your wife sees that this sneaker heaven idea that you had, that you wrote up, already exists in the form of burn rubber.
Yeah, and it was because at that time that was my entire being.
Yeah.
Was when I would get off work, even during work, I'm thinking about that business planning.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a corporate guy. And I'm like, yo, all right, what if we're gonna do this? Let's do it. How we gonna do it? All right, you got it? All right, yeah, we about to go do it.
Yeah.
I'm not with putting decks together and you know what I'm saying? And getting these numbers, like, yeah, they want to see it, so let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And so that was tough for me, but it was something that had to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but at that time, that was my entire everything. That was my entire life.
Yeah. So step 4, 5, and 6 is like find the location, set up the business structure, you know, and create the brand. What I think was interesting about what you did next is that you kind of crossed off step 4, 5, and 6 with one decision and partnering with Rick, right? Y'all were in a band together or something like this?
Yeah.
So how did you go from being in a band together to like deciding to get in the business together and go after this business that already existed?
So yeah, so we were in the band, and it's funny because up until that point I was a DJ, you know, for the most part, and frontman in the group, and Rick was percussionist, professional tap dancer. Yeah. So there's not much for us to do when they're bringing in keyboards and guitars and stuff like that. So we would have these conversations. Like, what you got going on, bro? And I'm like, well, it was sneakers for me. It was just, that's what it was. I'm like, yo, you seen these? They got these Tiffany dunks, or I got these Heineken dunks, or whatever. And so those are the conversations we were having. And he's always cut hair, And I was like, so I'm gonna open a sneaker store. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna have a sneaker store, and then you're gonna have a barbershop next door.
Oh shit, I never knew that.
And then we're gonna go. It's just gonna like when they come in for the sneakers, they gonna need a haircut. So they go over there, and when they get their haircut, they want to get fresh, you know.
Yeah.
So those are the conversations we were having. We were just talking about, you know, these lofty goals and these things that we could see ourselves doing. I had the business plan, you know. So he was like, all right, well, we've had these conversations. Let's try to make this work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how that happened.
Yeah. So you find out about this opportunity. You're frequenting Burn Rubber. Rick is basically working in Burn Rubber. And you find out that this thing is for sale off market. Which is important, because if it is marketed to be for sale, it's going to be more buyers coming in and shit like that.
God.
The price is going to go up.
Sure.
What everybody wants to know, we want to get in your business a little bit. How much did you buy Burn Rubber for?
So this is a crazy story too. So it was, I want to say the first thing they told us was like $250,000.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Which is a reasonable price for a business?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is, you remember on Dr. Evil? Sorry. $1 trillion gazillion. You know what I'm saying? That's what that number was to me. It was like, that's like impossible to get to. And and then it was so then it was other people like in position or whatever.
Okay.
And you know, people had kind of started dropping off, or like it didn't look like they were gonna.
So they had other buyers.
Yeah, potential buyers.
Yes,
okay. For sure.
Okay.
And then we got their, you know, so then we kind of stepped up to the plate and we got their books, because, you know, we got to talk to attorneys and stuff like that. And our attorney, man, is Mike Sugamelli. This dude is the most, like, your hopes could be up here, and he just shut them down. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not worth that. You guys are, you're the reason for the, blah, you know.
Yeah.
And we like, man, don't mess this up for us, dog. We're just trying to make this work, man. You know. And but it was like you know, it was probably the best thing, you know, because we had the book, so we knew that they weren't talking to anybody else at that point, or anybody else knew. Yeah. And we kind of just pushed it to the limit. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he was like, if I'm remembering this right, he was like, our attorney was like, you know, basically the brand is worth nothing. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy to say, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was like, it's only the business is only worth the inventory and the space. And then and it's like, what is that worth? And then anything else you want to pay him is what y'all feel that y'all want to pay him.
Yeah, you said something here that was amazing. You said you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve.
Everybody know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a prime example of that. You know, it's like, you know, with that, we hit them with a super low number. You know what I'm saying? Compared to what they were asking for. Okay. And I want to say it was like $60,000 or something like that.
Super low ball.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, they not gonna go for that, man. Why would they? Why would they? Yeah. If they think this is worth $250,000, why the hell would they even, you know? And then they were kind of like, they didn't like they didn't like say hell no, and we was kind of like, oh, okay. All right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, you know, then at that point it's like, and at that point we didn't even have the money. We didn't have the money. We still had to go try to get that, which is still a lot of money to, you know, especially at that time. Yeah. And yeah, we figured it out.
So let's step back real quick. So this step 5, the business structure and legal.
Is anybody writing these steps down?
Oh, it's getting recorded.
That was awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I still don't know nothing about the steps. Maybe that'll help me in the future, man.
I feel like you live the steps, right? That's
the
thing.
I do
like,
the steps.
Niggas do the stuff.
Because some stuff is just common sense. Man.
Yeah, you know, But not everybody knows how to go get, what do you say, Mike Sugamelli?
Mike Sugamelli.
Sugamelli. No, he got Sue in his name.
Damn, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Not everybody know how to go find him.
Yeah.
Or that, or
well,
no.
He's retired now. He's
Okay,
retired
so
now.
you can't get it. But you just don't know like what to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's just important to break everything down. It's not just a story. This shouldn't just this didn't just happen by happenstance.
Mm-hmm.
Whether y'all did it in order on accident or intentionally, y'all followed the steps.
Sure.
Which is why y'all in the position that y'all in now. It's no mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you get the legal, you go negotiate, you have leverage because they have no buyers, no real buyers. That's called BATNA, best alternative to negotiating the agreement.
Wow.
They didn't have that. They didn't have an alternative.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. And so you have leverage. You know what I mean? And you use that leverage to get a deal done. You said 60K.
Yeah, I believe
So that's like, what, 30%, 25, 30% of what they want, something like that? Is that 30?
Anybody got a calculator? There you go.
Yeah, that's like 30%, something like that.
And I think, honestly, I think it was less than that. I think it was, we came up with, I believe we came up with $60,000. And we, like, after we paid, you know, I guess paid out whatever we had like $6,000 in the bank or something like that. Or 8,000 or, it was somewhere around
So let's call it 50,000 to make the math easy.
$6,000 in the bank.
6 G's left.
$6,000 in the bank. And so everything from that, everything spawned from $6,000.
Wait.
Like all cash flipped.
You had $6,000 in the bank, or you had $6,000 after buying the business?
After we paid out for the business,
Okay.
and it's like, all right, okay, we got it now. There was $6,000 left over.
Gotcha.
So I want to say the buyout was, the purchase was for $54,000, and we had 6,000. We came up with 60. So because we was like, we can't, you know.
How did y'all come up with the money? That's one of the banes of our existence.
Well,
Like, it's an
I didn't
opportunity.
I didn't go to the bank.
Yeah. So how did you get the bread? I mean, you icy now.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Not
You know?
Not then.
What happened?
So I went to the only people I knew that had money.
Yeah.
You know, and that was my mom and my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it was my mom. I went to, cause you know, to be honest, my father's side of the family, I'm not particularly that close with, right? Never, you know, at points in time I was, but so I'd never felt comfortable. I wouldn't have felt comfortable going to them asking for anything, you know.
Yeah.
And so I went to my mom, like, Mom, like, we gotta figure this out, right? And I can't even say that she even understood what I was asking for it for. You know what I'm saying? But she, you know, I think she saw something in me and believed what I was saying at whatever level, and she kind of was like, you know, I don't know if she had the money in her back pocket, but she kind of was like, don't worry, I'll get it. And that's what, and then I was like, shit, all right. all right. And then, you know, come to find out, she went and had that conversation with my grandmother. And then they worked it out. They worked it out. And then on Rick's side, it was crazy because at one point in time, he didn't know if he was going to be able to get the money. And then he went to, I think it was Christmas, like Christmas time or something. He went to Milwaukee to visit his family, his grandfather and everything. And he kind of was going out there not expecting or thinking anything of it other than, you know, going on that trip or whatever. And he basically was like, had the conversation with his grandfather, and like, he was like, all right, and wrote him a check.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to y'all, man. That's fire. That's fire. So I think that's an important story too, because like as a black community, that first round of capital, that pre-seed round when you just have an idea, it's friends and family. And oftentimes we won't have the friends and family to have the bread or believe in what we're trying to do.
Yeah, or even understand.
Right.
You know.
But she didn't understand, you said.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
A lot of venture capitalists don't understand either. They betting on the entrepreneur that early on.
Yeah,
You got a crazy ass idea. We don't know what it means. We believe in you.
Word.
So that's just fire to see that, you know, they believed in y'all at that point and that y'all negotiated a deal for 70% off. That's just crazy.
I'm still negotiating deals for 70% off. Day, man.
So Burn Rubber had a Nike account at the time, yes? Mm-hmm. When y'all acquired it?
Yeah.
Did that play a role in like the transaction? Did y'all know that then, or did y'all get lucky? Like, how did that work with that acquisition?
So that's Mike Sugamelli. Mm-hmm. Sugamelli, he was like, it's not worth it. The real value is in the Nike account. That's what it's all about. That's what you're paying for. And I'm like, bro, we don't just get the Nike account.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was a thing where it doesn't transfer to our name. You know.
So you don't get the Nike account when you buy the business?
Nah.
Not like a liquor license?
Nah.
Okay.
We had to apply for a Nike account.
Oh shit. Okay.
And so I think it was Sugamelli. It had to be Sugamelli was the one that was like, we're gonna write in a deal that we're gonna give them half of what they're asking for, and and the rest of their money is dependent on us getting that Nike account.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's shrewd.
So where's Sugamelli at, bro?
Man, probably sitting on a beach smoking a Cohiba. You know what I'm saying? He's retired. Yeah.
So now you negotiate down to 60K,
Yeah.
but you only got to put up 30K
Yeah.
until you get the Nike account.
Yeah.
So now this guy has to go get that account. Like he has to.
Well, no. So what it was, he worked within Nike, right? So the good thing about it is that when he moved out to Oregon, which was with Nike, he's in the same space as the credit people and the people that make these decisions. So the thing is, like, bro, if you want the rest of your money, go holler at somebody. Go over there and go to that office over there.
Yeah.
And go get it done.
Yeah.
Because, other than that, we selling T-shirts.
Yeah.
And, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. And I think, it got to the point, I want the rest of my money. So he went and, as far as I know, started having those conversations and kind of nudging on people to get it done. That
might be one of the best deals ever, bro.
Man.
You acquired a guy business and now he working for y'all and shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Deep,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Step 7, register, protect your IP.
Okay.
You acquired a business, now you're building a brand, you got to protect the IP, but you had some run-in too. You had to run in like using other people's IP.
Good old IP.
I want to talk, because it's a lot of success here. Y'all done got the deal, y'all start running it up. We know Burn Rubber, what it's turned into, but let's talk about some of the pitfalls, some of the missteps. You start running it up.
Yeah.
And then you say, we're going to make a watch.
Yeah.
And we like Rolexes.
We all do.
Let's make a Brolex.
Yeah.
And that's one of the times we thought Burn Rubber was going to go out of business.
Yeah,
what
that
happened?
was over. So we sitting in the store. I think me and Rick, we had traveled. We would go out to Vegas for trade shows, these different places. And we, at least me, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation when we would walk past first class, because we were nowhere near first class. I would always see these men in this watch, right? And yeah, I knew what a Rolex was from Nas, Illmatic cover. He had the gold Prezi with the black face.
Yeah.
And I was like, one day, I'm gonna have one of those.
Yeah.
But I would see this watch, and it felt like it was always the same watch, and what it was a Submariner, a Rolex Submariner. Another thing that in my mind, I couldn't wrap my mind around paying $10,000 for a watch. It was kind of crazy back then.
Yeah.
And so we was like, yo, let's make our own. Let's make it. It was forgot the Metals in Time, I think is the name of the jeweler, and was in Roy Lowe. And we had these conversations. He's like, yeah, I can make you one of those. And it sweeps and it doesn't tick. I was like, oh, that's fire, dog. So we started coming up with these ideas. All right, let's do this, man. Let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. We're gonna make it look just like a Submariner. And so it got to the like, so it was the chef, and then we put the Rolex crown on it, but took like if it's 4 things on a Rolex crown, we made it 3 or whatever, right? So it's not the same. And then it got to the name, and I think Rick was like, man, we should call it like the Woodward or something like that, or just something prestigious, to Mark, you know, Michigan and Detroit. Yeah. I'm like, nah, bro, we gotta call it a Brolex. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, back in the day, like if you had a fake watch, it was a Folex, right? We burn rubber, so we call it a Brolex. Yeah. And he like, shit, all right, boom, right? Boom, set it in. I want to say we got 50 of them made and start selling them, right? Yeah. As soon as we get them back going. I want to say we charged $300 or $600, $300 for them.
Okay.
And we sold about 20 or 30 of them, a little bit over half, I believe. And then they started getting all this press. Our magazine, it's on these websites. And I'm like, man, what are y'all? Wow, is it that sweet? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then one day, we in the store, the small store on 4th Street, and the mailman come in. Mm-hmm. And he gives me an envelope, a manila envelope. I opened it and read it. And when I tell you, I felt like I sunk into the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like everything just fell, right? I politely put it back in there, closed it up, sat it down, grabbed my backpack, and went home. So like, I'm on a road, and this nigga Rick called me like, man, what the fuck, dog? You got a cease and desist, man, what the fuck? What are they saying? Right? I'm like, man, I don't know, dog. I don't know, man. But it's over. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, I was like, what did it say? And he's like, man, we used their name. I was like, but we didn't. Yeah. We did not. And so then we go call Sugamelli. Sugamelli, man, dog. He don't get enough credit, bro. We call Sugamelli. He's like, oh, no, we're going to handle this. And I'm like, Suga, what you about to do, man? He's like, I was like, what are they saying? And he was like, man, okay, so you guys, you made a little mistake. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, you guys see it as Brolex. Rolex sees it as Rolex. And I was like, oh, damn, right? And then he just turned it up, man. He was like, he said he would talk to the lady for hours. Because we were like, bro, why is the bill so high? You know what I'm saying? He was like, listen, I ran it all down. I told the lady, I looked at this is what it's gonna look like. Big Rolex trying to take down 2 young black guys in the city of Detroit for no reason. What are you gonna do? Put them out of business because they made a little mistake? He said the lady was like, this has nothing to do with race. What are you talking about? Yeah, right. And then we settled on. So they told us, and this is what I in my mind I was like, it's over. They told us that for whatever we could not produce, like give them back.
So the 30 watches that are sold, if you couldn't get them back to them,
we were going to be charged the price of a Submariner Rolex for each one of those. Woo. So once again, I was like, that's $3 million quadrillion gazillion dollars, which we don't have. It's not there to do.
Yeah.
And then he basically settled. I think we started trying to get watches back. Like we started.
Hey, bro, I need that shit back.
But he ended up.
That's crazy.
What he settled on is getting the watches back and marking out. We told him we would mark out Brolex, and so that was like the end of that. Never to be talked about again.
Sugamelli, let's give him a Sugamelli around here. God damn. Sugamelli.
I need to send him a Christmas gift.
Straight up.
A basket or something.
Damn. Life experiences you have, which I feel like is an advantage that you and I have. I done cut so many motherfuckers' hair. I done engaged with so many people. Like I just know how people move more than other people do.
Yeah. And
I won't say I'm the best judge of character inside the other, but just the self-awareness, just the awareness, you know what I'm saying, of people, and how to tap into different emotions. Yeah. I'd imagine you had an advantage like owning shops and being interacting with so many people.
Man,
is that
coming across over just in your travels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like growing up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody's got, if your grandma ain't crazy, somebody you know grandma crazy. Yeah. You know, and that's to me, that's the dopest parts of my life is that I've been able to travel like that and see these things in these places that, you know, a lot of my friends have never been to Europe. You know, some of them ain't been to Jamaica or Dominican Republic, which ain't that crazy.
Right. Yeah. So you write music. Do you ever plan on writing scripts?
Yeah.
You want to write script? You want to direct? You want to do all that shit? Like, how far do you want to go in this movie shit?
I'm such a fan of Detroit overall, with Detroit music, Detroit with everything, right?
Yeah.
But I'm such a fan of Detroit cinema. Like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
If that takes me to a place, cool. You know what I mean?
I want to talk about this shoe, the sneaker. How did it come about, first of all? How did this opportunity for this AJ2 come about? And how did you react when you, heard you got the opportunity? How did it happen?
So I got a call. I got a call from my rep, Arences, and he called me and said, "Hey, Ro, what's up? You know, you got an opportunity to do your own shoe, right? They call it an SMU, a special maker.
Okay.
So you got your own SMU. Click, hung up on him.
You hung up on him?
Hung up on him. Click. And I'm like, why would he joke with me like that, man? It's not funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a. So then he called me back, and I was like, man, why are you playing with me? And he was like, nah, no, I'm not playing. You're going to do an AJ2. And I was like, I don't know if I said anything the rest of the phone call. And he was just telling me basically like, you deserve it. He said he specifically told me so I'm gonna go back a little bit. When he first became my rep, around 2015-ish, something like that, he came to the store. Like a lot of times reps will just kind of pop into town and come to the store. This particular time I was in LA, I was working, doing my thing, and he called me and was like, yo, I'm actually pulling up to Detroit. I'm about to go by the store. Usually that's, you know how like your mom will call you back in the day, like I'll be home at 4.
Yeah.
You clean that shit up. What I was doing, I forgot to call Jay John or whoever was at the store to tell him like, yo, straighten that shit up. And then he called me back later that night, and he was like, yo, I stopped by the store. I was like, all right, what'd you think? He was like, it was terrible.
Oh.
It's like it was horrible. It was insufficient. It was inadequate. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean? The Adidas team, global team, just came in telling me how amazing it was.
Yeah.
He was like, well, if you got some time, I'll break it down to you. Most of the times, those reps are fake. Right? They'll tell you how amazing your barbershop look and then bend the corner and send an email telling, man, that shit was trash. I respect him to the utmost because he had the stones to tell me that it was weak, And I was like, man, times are hard, man. I ain't got no money, man. I'm broke, baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, nah. And then he said another store that he went to that he thought looked amazing, right? And I was like, well, I ain't got as much money as them. He was like, well, what I'm talking about is not money. You know what I'm saying? He was like it's a footprint on the wall that I don't think got there the day I got there. It's probably been there for some time, for some months. That's not money. That's paying attention to and appreciating what you have and wanting to put your best foot forward. And he was like, he said, I walked into the store and looked at the TV, and he was like, the station, remember back in the day they had a station where like the information station that it would like scroll up?
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't even know they still did that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, dog, that's crazy. And he was like, and see, the thing is, he said, I don't need my boss to shut you down. If it's not fixed in a certain amount of time, I'll shut you down. Right? And he was like, you got 6 months. And then I found the money, did this reface of the store, just kind of brought it up to a certain point. And then over the years, so another thing about that is that a lot of people would be like, man, fuck you.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Right. It's an important.
I
lesson.
appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And I take
Constructive
it.
criticism.
Everybody can't take that.
Yeah.
And
I'm working on it. Yeah.
and what he told me is that within this last 5 years, he said, 5 years ago, I would have told you were at the bottom of the barrel of stores in the country. And at this point, I would tell you you're at the top. And that's why you got it.
Good. Wow, that's really good. I'm just reflecting on that myself. Cause like we would all say like Burn Rubber was at the top, is at the top, 218. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's always levels. It's always levels. And I think we can do whatever we want to do as long as we're willing to become who we need to become to do those things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's our personal growth that allows us to actually manifest these opportunities. Because if you weren't in a place where you were able to receive that feedback, you would have sabotaged your opportunity today.
Right.
And that was 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you get this opportunity and you get 5,000 pairs of Jordans. Mm-hmm. These things went for $200. That's $1 million. I can do math real good.
Yeah, good. You're good.
It's $1 million.
Yeah.
But it's not as great as an opportunity as people might think, because if you don't have the faith, to manifest things, right? So if you don't have faith in yourself, if you don't have faith in your community that you built, it could be a burden to take on that type of opportunity, because now you got to sell 5,000 pairs. Yeah. You got $1 million opportunity of revenue. You have an opportunity to generate $1 million in revenue, but from my understanding, you also get an invoice for half of that.
Everybody knows that.
You get a $500,000 invoice.
For sure.
You got to move this work.
Yeah. You know, to be honest, man, it didn't feel real.
Mm-hmm.
I got the call May of 21.
Mm-hmm. May of 21.
May of 21.
So this was a long process.
Yeah. Yep. May 2021 is when I got the call.
Yeah.
It didn't feel real until I saw the invoice, which was in September. Seeing the sample, seeing the clothes, and it didn't feel real until I was like, dog, this says $500,000. $1 gazillion, quadrillion dollars again, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, it is for sure going to be over. if I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was that, and seeing the actual tag on the box. Because other than that, the only other time I saw the box for that was over Zoom. But when we actually finally got the shoe in, which was in October, which is crazy to even think about, I saw the tag with the style number. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, this is like really about to happen. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it was a year. A year and a little over a year and a half.
So let's get into the details real quick before we get into audience questions. So you get this invoice for $500,000. You know you have, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
30.
You get 30 days
30.
to pay $500,000.
From the day they sent it. Not the day I got it. The day they sent it.
Damn.
Yeah. So let's go with 27 days.
And so we saw this release. Now we know why you went so hard. You got drones in the sky, all type of shit.
All kind of crazy.
You gotta move these shoes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It gotta go.
But it wasn't just about moving the shoes, right? You gave away shoes. So to me that said, this guy's not just thinking about the $500,000 upside. Mm-hmm. You're trying to have a certain impact. You're trying to make a certain statement with this release.
Right.
What was that?
The statement, it was twofold. I knew that the city has never seen anything like this, the potential like this, right? Yeah. So my thing is, I had to show the city that I got it, right? Yeah. The flip side is the big wigs at these companies, Jordan Brand, Nike, and they're like, did we make the right decision? We know what LA does. We know what New York does. We know what Miami and Chicago. Can Detroit do it? You know, so my thing was, I knew it wasn't a money play for me. The $500,000 was never $500,000 to me. Profit, it was never.
Right.
Because I knew to do something that nobody has ever seen, I would have to pay out something that nobody's ever paid out at this level. And that was why you saw them drones in the air.
So that, yeah. And so what did that cost? You know you got $500,000 if you sell through all these shoes. You know that's really my budget to like tell this story. I see you having a drink.
Man.
So you must have spent a lot of money.
You got a joint? Go ahead.
How much did you have to spend to make all the noise you made? Because you made noise not just locally, you made noise globally with this release.
Yeah.
You know, Khaled talking about,
It's crazy.
steal it, still.
Still. You know, Khaled right there.
So this costs a lot. What you have to put up, and not only what you have to put up, where did that money come from? You know, you constantly keep making these bets on yourself. Whether it's I'm a DJ, then I'm a rap, then I'm a do this. You keep betting on yourself. But this costs money.
Yeah.
Where did it come from, and how much was it?
So it's crazy, man. I got a budget. So when you're doing these type of things, you get a marketing budget from the brand, right? And let's just say the marketing budget was under $50,000, right?
So you get $1 million opportunity, you owe $500,000, and the marketing budget from the company is under 50.
Yeah, that they're going to give me to do this. They told me whatever. Actually, the number they told me at first was higher than that. So they told me whatever they're going to give you, you got to match that, right? So I'll tell you, the original number was $75,000 that they were going to give me. They told me I had to match it. So in my mind, I'm like, 1 trillion, gazillion, gabillion dollars, right? And then, but I'm like, yo, I gotta figure it out. So my budget was $150,000 that I was like, this is what I plan on paying for this. They gave me an invoice and said, if you allow us to do what we want to do, it's gonna cost $255,000. I said, man, if you don't, that has to go.
Yeah.
Let's get it. I was thinking like I could see you saying 160.
Yeah.
But $100,000 over what I told you I was gonna pay you.
Right.
And we got the numbers down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Jones show probably would have been crazy, a little bit crazier if I would. And then there's a lot of things like, oh, we need a DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, you budgeted $2,500 for a DJ? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Call my mans.
Yeah.
So just things like that are like, oh no, the catering company, but in Chicago and in New York, that's what this stuff costs.
So you start leveraging your community, you start like cashing on some of that equity that you built over these 15 years.
Sure. Yeah.
And you help, put the city on, and you moved almost $1 million worth of product in 30 days.
Yeah, actually over, because that's not including the clothes. We got clothes.
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million, yeah, because it was clothes. Yeah. So ultimately, to answer your question, it ended up being about 220 something, and that's just like that's not what I was like. Oh, I'll get that.
Yeah.
The publicist.
Yeah.
I'll get that.
Yeah.
First time I ever used a publicist.
Yeah.
But I knew that, up until this point, it was like the news would probably call. But I'm like, no, the news has to. No, we about to call them.
Yeah.
And I knew that, I needed somebody to do that, and somebody that knew what they were doing.
You start playing offense versus defense. Let's get some questions from our audience. We're gonna wait to get the mic. Just raise your hand. We'll find you with the mic, and feel free to ask Ro or I any questions.
So my name is Wells. My question is, was there any added pressure outside of the money and in the invoice that you had, that type of obligation? Do you feel like there was any added pressure being that maybe you're representing the city, you know, you didn't want to disappoint your city, you know, outside of yourself? Like, did you deal with any of that?
Nah, if there was some added pressure, I think it would be from wanting to let Jordan Brand know that they did not make the wrong decision, like they made the right decision. As an artist, as a creative, this probably helps me sleep at night, but I create, whether it's a song or whatever, and I give it to the world. At that point, it's not mine anymore. You could burn it, you could piss on it, you can do whatever you want, you can enjoy it. I appreciate it if you do, but at that point, it's yours, and it's for you to do whatever you want to do with it. Not from a shoe to a hat to a whatever. So that takes the pressure off of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at whatever I'm a part of, and if I can look in the mirror and say, oh, that's dope, that's super dope, it don't matter if we don't sell one. It don't matter, whatever, I did the best I could do, and then at that point, it's yours. So.
Yeah, that's solid. Solid. More questions? E.T.?
I'm Eric. Hey, y'all. So you recently opened a store in the city of Detroit. You could have done this anywhere in the country. You got a lot of cultural capital. What about the city of Detroit do you think is contributing to the kind of work you're doing? How has it influenced your work? And guess how did it evolve into this brand? We
always want to let the world know that where we're from is incredible at every level. It's the freshest dressers, the best rappers, the best barbers, the best chefs. Like, at every level, that's the main goal. You know what I'm saying? So we've talked about trying to get to Detroit, trying to open a store in Detroit for years. And a lot of the times when you're dealing with these big companies, mm-hmm. it's not your decision. It's not my decision. So just to think of being in business for 15 years and having dreams and ideas to open stores and do this and, in Tampa and these things, Nike called me. It took 15 years for them to say, hey, you ever thought about opening a store? And you got it. You know what I mean? So it was like, at that point, it's like, hey, well, even if I'm not ready, I got to get ready and I got to figure it out. And because, for years we've been burn rubber Detroit, right? And we caught flack for that, not being in the city and not, been times we were sitting in the middle of the east side of Detroit doing things at a boys' home, and they saying, y'all don't ever do nothing for the city. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I was doing more for Detroit than I was doing for Pontiac. Yeah. So, yes, Detroit, it's like it was a must and it had to happen. I guess it's just happy it happened when it did.
Yeah. And isn't it true to your point, like, sneaker boutiques are built essentially on the accounts you're able to get. And if Adidas and Nike and so on and so forth aren't willing to do business in those markets,
ain't nothing you can do about it.
It's tough to, you don't have the accounts. You don't have sneakers to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy as we're getting into franchising and looking to open up barbershops around the country. It's interesting to see how, the data points that are used. You know what I mean? Like, we charge about $41 for a haircut in a city where the household income isn't, very high. Mm. But when you look at our community, it's like we're willing to spend money on taking care of ourselves in certain ways. So you can't use that same data if you're not culturally competent.
Right, that's real.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but these brands, they don't give a fuck about that. They're looking at the numbers. Mm. They're not looking at the relationships. They're not looking at, you know what I mean? The work that's been put in. Mm-hmm. They're looking at data. And I think that's some of the pressure that he's talking about. He has to prove, we've been right this whole time.
Yeah, because we've been asking for it for so long.
Yeah. That's good.
What's up, bro?
What up, though?
I'm Stan. So my question for you, I want to touch on success. Everybody's journey, I feel like, has a unique journey, a unique path to their way to success. So for you, my question is, what did your journey look like, and how do you keep yourself grounded? Like, what do you do to kind of decompress? And 'cause I know you talk to hundreds of people, you know, networking, you're doing this, or got a staff. How do you decompress when it comes to getting back and centered to you?
I guess I try to keep real ones around me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you ever met Ron Dance. You know what I'm saying? Marv One, like some of these people that don't care, like they're laughing because you're a roast spit, right? You know, it's like, if I ever kind of thought I was getting into this headspace, they bring me right back down. You know what I'm saying? But I just try to keep real people around me, man, that just don't allow me to be whatever. And I try to, I don't know, man. It's funny because like humility is like a major thing in my life. The only time I don't show humility is when I rap. It's the only time I talk shit about myself. Like I'm the cold as this. My old manager Six she used to be like, how do you respond to everybody? How do you say thank you to everybody? And I'm like, man, I'll stay up an extra hour on Instagram telling people doing this, the prayer, like posting that just because I really appreciate it.
I noticed that, bro. Like, we've done a lot of these shops. Like,
everyone,
we've been very active.
I heart every comment.
It's crazy.
Good, bad.
Yeah.
Say thank you. You know what I'm saying? I look people in the eye because the thing is, you could feel that way, but it takes another step for you to actually say it or post it. And the fact that you did that, from the bottom, I appreciate that. And that, you know, I think that's what it is.
You know, I think you keep people around you, but I think you also have been doing work, right? You talk about your family, you talk about your girls, right? Your 2 little girls. You talk about therapy.
Yeah.
So it's not just the people around you keeping you grounded. It's also work that you're doing intentionally to keep yourself grounded. Maybe you talk about that a little later as well.
Yeah, I mean, like going to therapy, it's a couple things I pull from therapy, and I just started back too. Therapy taught me that nobody owes you nothing. Your wife, your mom,
Sugamelli?
Sugamelli. Yo, nobody owes you nothing. You know what I'm saying? And once you get that in your brain, you can start moving freely. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing is, it's kind of like a self-reflection type thing. Is that I try to find myself in every situation.
Yeah.
I try not to, like, man, Dance, you did this, dog. I don't like. I'm mad at you for this. It's like, nah. Well, what did I do to make Dance feel like he could do that and make? You know what I'm saying? It's tough to do, and it's a constant work in progress. But that's my thought process now.
You know, Will Smith said something, and it's crazy to quote Will Smith, having him smacking Chris Rock like that.
Yeah.
But he said
sometimes you gotta
something.
smack a nigga, bro.
But he said something. He said, even if it's not your fault, it's your responsibility, right? It might not be your fault that your mom did this, or it might not be your fault that your brother did that, or it might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal from it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was deep. Anyway, more questions.
What's up, Ro?
My dog.
You
What
all
up?
right? Sebastian, nice to meet you,
How you
man.
doing, brother?
First of all, I want to compliment the platform you guys got here. This is amazing.
Thank you, man.
Give them a round of applause.
Thank you, bro.
Hey, that's the MC right there. That's the MC right there.
This is
Yeah.
hella dope. I love it.
Thank you, man.
Ro, you rap, you sell sneakers, you DJ. You never cease to amaze me, man. You just come to the studio late nights, we give you the keys because you'll be there all fucking night. We got to get out of there.
Yeah.
So I just want to know what's next, man. What you got next? What you got coming up after this?
The next thing for me is acting, bro. Acting. I got a movie. I'm in a movie that's about to come out. I think they just told me December 18th. And like over the years, I got to a point where I realized that everything I've ever wanted to do, I did. You know what I'm saying? If I had a thought about it, boxing, right? I love boxing. I've always have, and I wanted to box when I was younger, and my mom was like, "Nah." My boy Chuck used to box, so I used to sneak up there with him and learn some little things or whatever. But I always wanted to box, and a couple years ago, me and my man 6 a.m. we started training, and we had a legit boxing. You know what I'm saying? And sold the gym out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, that's not world-class boxing in Vegas, but it fulfilled something in me.
Yeah.
And that was all I needed.
Yeah.
And with all of those things, I find a way to make money doing it. So that people paid. You know what I'm saying? And I got punched in the face a couple times, but I had a blast, man. And it filled the void.
Yeah.
And it like the other thing is I think I'm here to show people that they can. At whatever level.
That's your purpose.
That's my purpose. I think, and now at least that's what I'm moving in. And it was I was walking through a club in Pontiac one time, and this dude was like, "Nigga, you do everything." Like, you know what I'm saying? But he was like, "Man, but at the same time, it make me see like I never thought to try." And I don't know if he ever tried. But just that got across to him was enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just want people to just do.
Yeah.
Just do. If you got an idea, do it.
Yeah.
If I don't look at failure, like people say you failed or you did this. I'm like, nah, it just got me to the point where I'm figuring something out that's going to work.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Right here.
Hey, how y'all doing? My name is Lee Grant, and first of all, I just want to tell you thank you without going into details. But question, when you're building a business with friends, people that you call brothers, how do you have ShopTalk and make sure things don't get taken personal? I've always had the mindset of, if we're going into business together, we should be able to talk business, and I should be able to still get invited over to the cookout after we get done talking shop, holding each other accountable as partners. So how do you kind of navigate that to make sure those relationships stay close? Because that's what I'm trying to learn in the business that I'm in right now.
I don't know, man. I think, to me, so my man Ron Dance he does comedy, right? And he spoke. One of his comedy shows, he's talked about a peace bubble, right? Where you want to do this? You want to stand up? But he talked. And part of this came from therapy, right? Is like, and just kind of just listening to people say certain things, but. I made a decision a couple years ago to find my peace, right? And not let anybody stop it. So in his stand-up, he says he has his peace bubble that he lets nobody in, right? And there's these things in his peace bubble, like pre-rolls, like whiskey, you know what I'm saying? Like terrible clothes. That's his peace bubble, right? Those are the things that make him happy, right? And basketball, of course. And his wife, right? He may step out of his peace bubble and deal with her, but he doesn't let her into his peace bubble. It's crazy. That shit was funny, but it's like, think about that shit, right? So with me, thinking about if nobody owes me nothing, I don't owe nobody nothing, right? Everything has to be organic. It has to be like a thing where like, I don't have to think about calling you. I don't have to think about if I call you, what are you gonna say to me? If that, I just won't deal with it. And it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm in therapy, dealing. But even to my children, I've thought of, now, I say these crazy things at times, right? And I'm like, now, in my mind, I say this, but when it really happens, who knows what I'm gonna do, right? But like, even to my children, I'd be like, you know, people are like, what if your daughter come home with like this weird, goofy guy that does? And I'm like, well, if I gave her all this game and she chose this, go on. I'm in my peace bubble, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in my space, and I'm not allowing my child, nobody, to ruin that. You know what I'm saying? So I just move organic, man. I just move organic, and if that's not me coming over your house to watch the Lions lose, I'm not coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna watch boxing, whether there's 50 people there or me, and that just is what it is. So I think rapping taught me, rapping at a level that I feel like I didn't make worldwide acclaim. Made me understand, deal with the people that fuck with you. Period. If you don't feel they fuck with you, go fuck with the people that, even if it's 2 people, because that 2 people is gonna turn to 4, that 4 people gonna turn to, and then you got the secret garden.
What up, Baz? What up, bro? I got a question for you guys. Being an entrepreneur, successful, the Jordan release, Baz. We know you global at this point.
That's what you say. He's a very specific.
Hey, I've been to your house
point.
anyway.
Then you say some bullshit to me.
My question is, one thing I realized that I struggle with and other entrepreneurs may struggle with is smelling the roses. Like, there's so many things that I wanted to accomplish that I did, but I never felt accomplished. And I'm pretty sure other people struggle with that. Like, I wanted to do this, I want to do that. Like, you wanted to eventually, I'm sure the opportunity came, but like, when do you know, or how do you like just sit back and say, wow, I did that?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't either, so I figured it might be like a...
Yes, that's good. I think I smoked weed with my sister. I smoked weed with my sister. When did Mom die? 2017? 2016. So 6 years ago, my sister and I smoked. I'm not a smoker. Because I'm not a smoker, I didn't know we were hotboxing. Okay? You gotta follow me there. You gotta follow me. So I'm making banana pudding. It's the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm chopping bananas up. And I'm like, damn, I'm chopping the fuck out of these bananas. You know, I'm very high. You know? And, you know, I'm in a great mood. We're laughing. You remember this? We're joking with each other. She leaves the house and I get sad. And I realize, like, damn, I lost my mom, you know? And I'm in one of the darkest moments of my life. And I don't realize it because I'm not, like, facing it. But the weed showed me that I was sad, right? And one thing that I learned in that moment was gratitude is the gateway to happiness. Okay? So you have to find a reason to show gratitude. Whether you breathing, whether you this, whether you that. Like, you done tore in two Achilles. I know you, Steve.
Oh.
I played basketball last week.
You know what I'm saying? You walking right now. Like even if it's like I can still walk. Like, you have to find reasons to show gratitude. And I think for me, it's not easy to do, by the way. Like, my wife is my business partner. She'll tell you, like, I'm often like, what's next? What's next? What's next? We should be here. We should be, because if you're a visionary, you can see the future and you know how to get there. And you're constantly trying to convince people to help you get there. and they don't believe in you, even though you just did $1 million in 30 days, they're still like, you can't do 2 though. You know what I'm saying? So you start feeling that, but you don't want to get caught up in like the people that don't fuck with you. You want to focus on people that do. You don't want to be like, it should be 4 people fucking with me, and it's only 1. Be grateful for that 1. That's how you'll get to 2. That's how you'll get to 4. That's how you'll get to 8. So I think gratitude is truly the gateway to happiness, and I think therapy helps you start to unpack all the self-sabotaging things that you learned through the trauma that you experienced growing up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us in here are black people. We've been through a lot. And if we haven't been through it, our parents have been through it. And if they haven't been through it, their grandparents have been through it. And guess what? All of that is inside of you. You know what I'm saying? My wife reads a good book called It Didn't Start With You. She read a good book called It Didn't Start With You. All that trauma literally is in you. And so you had to like dig deep and do work on that stuff. And once you can shed all that, then it's easier to be grateful. But yeah, gratitude for me, man, like you'll smell the roses when you realize you are the rose. You know what I'm saying? How's the box?
Y'all got that? Y'all got that? To answer your question, what I would say is I love boxing, right? And there's a couple rules to boxing, right? First rule is never drop your hands because you get knocked out. The other thing is don't admire your work because you get knocked out. I got a great story for this, right? I was boxing and I was like, I'm getting good at this, right? And but I don't like to get hit. I don't like to get punched in the face, right? And so I'm like, when I box, I'm tall, so I jab, keep people away from me, right? And I was like, man, I never mixed it up with nobody, right? I never got in the pocket and I was like, there's a guy, he was like 130, 130 pounds short. I'm like, I'll mix it up with him, right? Duh. So now, if you know anything about boxing, it's tough to get 3 punches off on somebody. You just like pow pow or just whatever. So we in there, and he's trying to be a professional boxer, even at 130 pounds, right? And I'm in there, sort of rounds going, boom, we jabbing, I'm kind of keeping him off me, and so then you hear this ding 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 ding, right? And that means you have 30 seconds. So I'm like, this is the perfect time. Right? Bro, I hit dog. I said, bop, 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 bop. Caught him with every punch, right? And I was like, the other thing they say, don't stand straight up, right? You got to get out of there. I did like this. Right? No bullshit, bro. This dude, he did like this Mike Tyson type thing, bro. Where he was like, huh, huh, huh. It was right in front of me. And so I got this mask, like, people got the face mask that's open. Mine got a bar across it, because I'm like, I don't want to get hit in the nose. Bro, he did this, whoop, 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 right? And I was like, huh. And he did like this, and was like, pop, and got right through that little space. And I felt this, I was like, I'm bleeding, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, instantly, I was like, I know what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. I admired my work. And I stood straight up, right? So whatever happened, my mouthpiece was gone, right? I don't know if he knocked it out or whatever, but I was like, I got to get back in there. I have to, because I know exactly, and I'm not going to do it again. You know what I'm saying? I never found my mouth guard. The guy, like my man Akio, he would not let me get back in the ring. And that's part of the reason why I stopped boxing. Not because I got punched in the face, because I wanted to stop everything else in my life to run miles. I'm going to get back in the ring with this guy, and it's going to be a different story.
Yeah.
And then he went pro and won like 3 fights, and I was like, bro, I'm straight. You got it. You got it. But the whole point of that is like I said earlier, man, I do what I do and I give it to the world.
Yeah.
And I don't even care what you say about it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Hopefully you buy it, hopefully you appreciate it, hopefully it does something for you, but I really don't care. I really don't care. At that point, it's yours to do whatever. You could take this shoe and throw them off the side of the freeway.
I couldn't find them because I snoozed, but you know, God is able. So.
Yeah.
Well, look, man.
StockX is powerful.
Well, you know, one of the lessons you live by is don't admire your work.
My brother. Yeah.
But I think everybody here does admire your work.
Man.
You know? And yeah, man, it's a blessing. You know? Go put the miles in.
Mm-hmm.
Go put in more work, and we'll admire it.
Love.
And we appreciate you. Make sure you all follow us on IG at Social Club DET, hashtag ShopTalk. Tag us, follow us, come get a haircut. Stop by 218, stop by Burn Rubber. Shout out to Remy Martin. Shout out to Chef Devontae. This was episode 4 of Shop Talk. We admire you, my brother. Thank you, man.
brother. Thank you.
Oh, my bad. And shout out to Misfitted, the production company.
Yeah.
Yeah.